Great time. And hopefully next
And maybe even some of us older owners is, but I'm back.
People! Hit up, fools. Mizzah Tee here, back with another video, and this one is about just stupid, stupid arguments for or against, or however you want to put it, Nintendo. So Pokemon Go, ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon Go comes out and takes over the world, becomes a worldwide phenomenon without even launching worldwide yet. I'm not sure if it's launched in Japan yet. It looks like they were holding back there to close a McDonald's deal. So they were holding back for that. You know, as soon as something happens good or bad for Nintendo, there's like all these suggestions of what they should do. It just points to everything. It means more than it means. Blah, 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 blah. So let's get started with the Pokemon stuff. Obviously, because there's a great success, everybody wants Nintendo to now just focus on mobile. Like, is that for real? If it's not that, Pokemon Go means Nintendo should just go third party. I don't know how having a successful mobile game means you should go third party, because they're able to put that out and still do what they do. This will lead into the second stupid argument. So they already have access to everybody. They have access to more people than their consoles and their competitors' consoles combined. Anybody who has a smartphone, smart device can access Pokemon Go. And, okay, that should be the end of the story. Like, it's, you know, nobody knew that it would be this successful. Maybe Nintendo believed it would be with some market research, but nobody knew it would be this successful. And I'm not sure how a mobile game, a game specifically made for mobile, that basically checks all the checks for a successful game on mobile, checks all the boxes, I should say. I don't know how that means that Nintendo should definitely go third party. First of all, Pokemon Go isn't a real Pokemon game. It has the IP, it has elements of Pokemon, but what makes it so approachable to people who don't even care about Pokemon, who never cared about it before, or video games, is the social aspect of it. It's the AR stuff. It's the getting people up and the grouping of people going out to catch Pokemon. That's what makes it special. And that's what makes it a huge worldwide hit, not just the Pokemon IP. So Nintendo's IPs alone, or IP, in this case Pokemon alone, isn't enough to garner the success. It's all those elements combined, and really good word of mouth, and people sometimes will jump onto something just because it's popular. And so once something becomes popular, it doesn't matter if it sucks or not, people will jump on it and it will be a thing. And that's not saying Pokemon Go sucks. It actually is pretty fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. I don't do the crazy stuff like wandering into bad neighborhoods or walking into traffic or anything. But it is fun, a cool diversion. But it kills that battery life on your phone. And there's enough, especially on my iPhone, to do that. So I don't understand how this means anything other than Nintendo's making a lot of money. And they can make their money with that, and they can continue to do what Nintendo does. Like, Nintendo loves to have proprietary software or proprietary hardware, because it helps in their development. Like, they don't have to make a version for this company, make a version for that company. They can focus on their own device that they know the ins and outs of. And that's what, I've talked about this before. That's what makes Apple so cool, is that it doesn't have to, it knows what the hardware is. It knows iOS or, Mac OS 10 on whatever software that your hardware runs on Mac knows the ins and outs of the hardware, and it can cater to that. It is designed specifically for that hardware, and it will always run better and best on that hardware. The software will always run better or best. And stuff that if you just look at the raw specs of a console, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because when you have a manufacturer, a company who makes their own hardware and software, their software is always going to run better than anybody else's software on that console, because they know the ins and outs of it. They designed it for specific software sometimes. So just looking at specs, especially when it comes to Nintendo, does it injustice, because they know their hardware better than anybody, and therefore their hardware is going to be, or their software is always going to be the best. Usually that's the case. Factor 5 has challenged that theory, because they've done some great stuff on not only Nintendo consoles but Sony consoles as well, as far as the tech goes, as far as the power and how good the games look. Because Rogue Squadron is probably the best looking game on GameCube, and that was a launch title from Factor 5, and that's not the case probably for Layer when it comes to the PS3, but it was a technical marvel at the time, so that always helps. And a little indie company by the name of Shinin is also really good at making stuff that you wouldn't believe was possible on a Nintendo console, specifically the Jet Rocket games, especially the ones on Wii. Those graphics are really good for Wii games, and I would never think that a company could pull those kind of graphics out of Wii, yet alone what they did with the Neo games on Wii U, being Fast Racing Neo and I can't think of the other game. It was actually in my top 20 for best Wii U games. It's the game where you're fighting germs inside of a body, basically. I don't know why I can't think of it, but it also has the subtitle Neo. It's one of the launch titles on the eShop. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why Nintendo wants to keep producing hardware, because they know if they do that, they can make the best software. They make the software specifically designed to their hardware, their in-house hardware. And that is huge for a company that wants to be as creative as Nintendo when it comes to their stuff. So that's why they're going to continue doing that. Sure, they'll throw out a mobile game here and there. I don't think anything else they come up with will probably do as good as Pokemon Go. But they're going to have some more successes. Like Animal Crossing is going to be successful because it's kind of perfect for the mobile platform. And Fire Emblem coming up as well. Will probably be less successful, but it will probably be successful as well. And the mobile platform can be used to basically gather mind share, get Nintendo back into the mind share of the casual, or the consumer that's not specifically into video games, because that's the biggest market. So it makes sense to want to engage with those types and get them to remember Nintendo. A lot of people who probably played NES or even Super NES to some degree probably just don't even play video games anymore. That's anybody's video games. So, and a lot of those people are playing Pokemon Go right now. So you get those people thinking about Nintendo again, and then they might go out and purchase that next Nintendo console, especially if it's called Nintendo. So Nintendo, make sure you do that. Put Nintendo in the title of the console again and get that mind share back. And so, yeah, I mean, it's stupid to say Nintendo should go third party, because you always hear all these guys say who don't have a Wii U or haven't had a Nintendo console for a while, I don't care about Nintendo games. So what is going third party going to help? Sure, they'll sell a few more games here and there, but these guys swear up and down that they don't care about Nintendo games. So why should Nintendo go to those other platforms? Because they have a specific type of game. They make a specific type of game for a specific type of audience, and they're not gonna do as great or as good with somebody else's audience. So that's just because Nintendo has a certain way. Same thing with Sega. Same thing with some Ubisoft games like Rayman. They do better on Nintendo platforms because Nintendo fans are more open to that kind of stuff. So Sure, they'll sell a few more copies, but you're not gonna all of a sudden become a Zelda fan just because it's on your console, especially when you've been saying you don't care about Nintendo games all this time. So, and now the second argument. This is almost, I guess this is kind of a response to Rob of Rule of Two Reviews video, having to do with people saying that Nintendo consoles are a paywall. It's utterly ridiculous to single Nintendo out for whatever reason, because if you want to play on Steam, you're going to have a PC or some similar device. They have Steam machines now, which are kind of console hybrids. And so if you want to play Steam stuff or you want access to Steam, that's what you got to have. You got to have a PC or a Mac. And I don't know why you get Steam on a Mac, because you're limiting yourself. I actually had it on Mac. I'm not poo-pooing Macs. I'm just saying most games on Steam won't run on a Mac. So, but basically, I'm just saying you have to buy some hardware for that. It doesn't stream to your TV, at least not yet. And so that, quote unquote, is a paywall because you have to buy a PC. And if you want to play, if you want to play God of War or Uncharted, you got to buy a PlayStation console. And is that not a paywall? And the argument against what I'm saying here is that, oh, well, I can buy other games on that console as well. And I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. I made the this is my example. I'm a Giants fan first, but I'm also a Tampa Bay Bucks fan because I lived in Tampa for almost half my life, and I grew as a teenager to be a Bucks fan. So I groomed myself there, and I moved to Massachusetts. I live in Massachusetts now, and I don't have access to Buccaneers games. They don't play ever, pretty much locally. And for me to watch Buccaneers games, I could do some kind of torrent pirate thing. I can go to certain websites, which I don't really do. Or I could do the NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, my main goal is to watch Buccaneers games. But I would have to pay for NFL Sunday Ticket to be able to watch Buccaneers games. Now that opens up other games that I could also watch. But my reason for purchasing NFL Sunday Ticket was so I can have access to the Buccaneers games I want to watch. So while, yeah, I have access to those other games, and that quote unquote adds more value to that purchase, I'm not really going to be checking for those games. I'll watch a few. And same thing with me if I bought a Sony console. Sure, I'll buy a few third-party games. But I'm there for the first-party stuff that I can't get on anything else. And that is value. That is value to a company. So why would a company give that up? And for what? For a few more people to have access? Because a lot of people are already groomed on whatever console they're on right now. It's going to be hard to pull those people away. If all your friends are on Xbox Live and all your friends are on PSN, okay, so what? That Nintendo now has the games you also like to play on their console. Everybody you know is attuned to an Xbox or a PS4 or, the PlayStation experience or the Microsoft experience on the console. So why all of a sudden does that mean you're going to go ham for the Nintendo console? That doesn't make sense. You don't like Nintendo games, as you say, and everybody you know is already on, you have the experience with them on Xbox Live or PSN. So, what benefit would Nintendo have to going third party, getting a few more people? I mean, it's not worth it what they have right now. They have a system that has sold 13, 14 million consoles, the Wii U, but it has a game on it that sold 7 million. Why give that up? Oh, okay, so a few more people may purchase Mario Kart, if you really cared about Mario Kart, you'd pay for it. Like, that's what it is. I mean, that's, you pay for it by buying the console. So if I really care about, my Buccaneers games, I'm gonna get NFL Sunday Ticket, and I don't consider it a paywall, to get Sunday Ticket, because I want to watch Buccaneers games. That's my main reason. So I don't understand this idea of I want everything on one console. If you have a PC, you have access to the best, usually, the best version of a third-party game, a multiplat, and you also have free online. So, but you know what? You're still never gonna get God of War or Uncharted or Last of Us or any of that stuff. You're still never gonna get that. Obviously, on the Microsoft side, those things are changing, so I can't say that. But so what value is it that you have access to more third-party games if you buy a PS4 when you already have a better experience on your PC? So I don't understand this paywall thing, because you're still not going to buy those third-party games on that console. You're going to buy them on your PC, and you're going to have access to the free online. So I don't understand this idea of a paywall. And it seems to come from PC guys mostly, because they have access to a lot of stuff and they just want everything on their PC box, but it doesn't work that way. I can't go to Coke and ask for, I can't go to the Coke company and ask for a Pepsi. It just doesn't make sense. You have to go and pay for what you want, and you have to pay those companies for that. Like, that's how services work. You can't have everything on one box. And I've never had the mentality, because I liked my Super Nintendo when I had it, because there was a certain experience on that console, and I liked my Sega Genesis when I had it, because there was also a certain experience that I liked on that console. So I bought both. I never had to choose. You're in the wrong hobby if you think you're gonna be going the cheap route. Like, this is not the hobby for that. PC guys, maybe, because Steam, they wait for Steam sales, or they pirate. They run emulators for consoles. And so I guess they build this kind of mentality. They build this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Entitlement to things, because a lot of things come free or really cheap on that device. But too bad. Companies are in the business to make money. And if you want their games to run optimized, you can run emulators. They're not usually that great. Some of them are pretty good, but if you want that experience, you have to pay for that experience. It's that simple. Like, why should a company go third party just so you can not have to buy their device? That doesn't make any sense. I love OS X, and I have to buy a Mac for that. I like iOS, and I have to buy an Apple phone or iPad or something for that. So that's the way it works. Enough with this paywall stuff. So yeah, shout out to Rob, Rule 2 Review. Great video. He agrees pretty much with everything I said here. And so go check his video out if you haven't. And yeah, that's it for these stupid Nintendo arguments. It seems like when it comes to Nintendo, people just lose their minds and make up these just dumb things. It's just stupid. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, that's it for this video. And I'll see you folks next time. Peace.
Thank you all for watching Mizzah Tee Show.